segment of our program, SMT, and we have our guest in the house.
Yes, we informed you earlier that one of the issues we'll be taking a look at this morning is the constitutional review, and it has been generating a lot of controversy. There are issues between the National Assembly and the state governors. National Assemblies, actually accusing the state governors of trying to truncate the amendment of the Constitution. We have a guest in the house who will be discussing this issue with us this morning, someone who is eminently qualified. And
our guest this morning on the first segment of the program is Honorable Adeyemi Adewumi, also known as Yurikan. Am I right?
Very correct, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you
And you are representing
Obokun State Constituency in the Osun State
Assembly. Welcome once again.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, before we go into the core issue surrounding the constitutional review, what exactly is a constitution and how, what are the roles of the constitution in any given nation?
Okay, thank you very much. Once again, it's a pleasure to be here, and my greetings to the people of Obokun State constituencies, and especially the people of Osun State in general, because it's by the people of Obokun State constituency I'm able to, be in the Osun State Assembly. Now, talking about the constitutions, this is the law that guides a community or a nation. That is what we've agreed together collectively to be ruled by. So a law is what is just the modus operandi, how a nation ought to be guided or ruled. So without a law or without a nation cannot be guided. There won't be, even the Bible says, where there's no law, there's no sin. So the law is to know what to do and how to do it.
Okay, let me quickly add this. You said a nation will agree.
Collectively.
When we talk about the Nigerian Constitution, do we have collective agreement?
Now, there have been some issues around that, obviously because of our background, where we are coming from. We are coming from the military regime. And of course, you understand that this constitution was given to us by the military regime. And of course, the military guys are also Nigerians in any way. But our constitution is such that for it to be acceptable, must to be agreed upon by all. And for instance, a nation such as Nigeria, that we have different ethnic groups, we have diverse religious views, so in other words, the constitution that we must be guided by, that will work for us, must be the one that will be agreed upon by every ethnic group, by the religious organization. But in the case of this one that we're using, starting from 1999, was given handed over to us by the military regime. So there are issues around that, and this is why in some quarters there has been high agitation of restructuring.
All right. Now, look at Nigeria Constitution. You said it's a document that has to be agreed upon by all. But in our own case, it was given to us by the military.
Yes.
Now, I think this is what is exactly responsible for the clamoring for the review. But why is this review generating a lot of controversy?
There will always be issues because, like I said, we have different ethnic groups. So one ethnic group will want something that will favor is our group, our ethnic inclination, and the others will want. So since there are different types of views, so there will always be issues. But the law is the law. You understand? For instance, just like you said, constitutional amendments. Some politicians will have some interest. You understand? They will not want some amendment to take place because they will feel in the next couple of years this such amendment is going to affect them. So they will raise voices. So this is why we're having issues upon issues. Okay,
now Nigeria is operating a rigid constitution, and before anything can become law, right? If we're going by what the amendment that's the ongoing constitutional amendment, it has to go through all the state houses of assembly.
Very correct.
Right now, there are issues, and the National Assembly has come out to accuse the state governments of actually trying to stall the amendment process. What are these issues, and why are the National Assembly and the governors at loggerhead?
Interest.
Okay.
Interest, but unfortunately, some of these interests are not for the collective advantage of the people. Some of these interests are very selfish. So it's all about interest. Now, take for instance, let me give you an instance. There have been an amendment in the Constitution that was signed to by President Muhammadu Buhari that autonomy should be given to the state assemblies, not only Osun State, state assembly generally. And even though it is in the constitution, it has not been, actualized. So the governors still hand over what is due to the House of Assembly. They give it to them. That what they say, have kind of a control by the House of Assembly. So definitely, some of the governors will not want such amendment to take place, because now in this amendment that is ongoing, they are making it more clear than the one that is in it before. That the state assembly, the local government, even the judiciary, should be given full-time autonomy, and some of the governors may not want that.
Okay. Now, if you look at our constitution regarding the local government that you have just talked about, the constitution says that everything that concerns the local government will be undertaken by the state. Is that not an ambiguity?
No. Well, the constitution says the money should be paid directly into the local government account. Even at that, even if it is paid into the local government account, we still have some governors that will still instruct the local government chairman, on how the funds should be spent. What we're talking about full autonomy is not, we need full autonomy, not just partial autonomy. An autonomy that the governor will still be able to influence what or how the local government spends their money. It's not an autonomy. We have, if this is why, let me just say this is why we need to appreciate the present government, and because Senator Ademola said it's going to give the local government full autonomy, on how they're going to spend their funds. That is what we want. But some governors do not do that. When a particular amount of money goes into the local government, they still instruct the local government chairman, to transfer the money or how they're going to expend the money. So that is not autonomy.
All right. Before we go away from that, the general administration of the local government is under the state. You seem to be talking about funds. People seem to be looking at it from the issue of fund. But the general administration of local government resides with the state. How do you
now it resides with the state assembly?
Yeah.
By the law passed by the Osun State. Using Osun State as an example now. I don't know what is I'm talking other states, but in the State of Assembly, the local government is under the state assembly. They make laws for them, how the local government administrations and the likes. But that does not mean the state assembly will spend their money. The local government should have authority over how their finances should be expended. You see, the local government should be able to construct roads. The local government should be able to build hospitals. The local government should be able to build health centers for the people, because we have 3 tiers of government. We have the federal government, the state government, and the local government. So local government is the closest to the people. Many of these our health centers are not even functioning well. Before you get to the general hospital, you must have visited the health center. But many people just go to the general hospital because the health centers around them in their local government are not functioning. These are part of the roles of the local government. But if the state government now begin to instruct them, to use the money for other means, that will not suit the local authority where they are, how would they be able to build the roads? How would they be able to build the hospitals? I don't know if you get my point. So what the state assembly does is just to regulate if there are issues, just a kind of a guidelines, local government administrations, what is guiding them, but not to tell them that they must use this money to do a particular thing.
All right, now let's look at the system of government Nigeria is operating, because we're still talking about the amendment and constitutional amendment. A lot of Nigerians actually clamored that the constitution is one-sided. It is not representing the interest of the entire people. Now, Nigerians elected people into the state houses of assembly, the National Assembly, and even elected the governors to take care of their interest. Now, Nigerians want a workable constitution that will serve the governors, the representatives of Nigerians are fighting for their personal interest. Now, do you think the federal system of government, as practiced in Nigeria, is actually working?
No, of course, it's not working. It's not working, because if it's working, there won't be agitation. If it is working, the state of the nation won't be at this. Look at the rates, look at the insecurity that we have all around. So if this present constitution is working, we won't have all those issues. So definitely I agree with you, it is not working. And this is why somebody like me, I am a proponent of restructuring. We need to restructure the whole affair of this nation, starting from the constitution, restructure everything so that it can work effectively. So it's not working presently.
Okay, if the present constitution is not working, in our own interest. People are saying that we should go back to the 1963 Constitution, Republican Constitution. Now, do you think it is better for us to revisit that Constitution?
Well, we can revisit it, borrow some ideas, but my own view is that we should make our state federating states. You know, take for instance, why should Osun State have to go to Abuja every month, you know, to go and collect funds? There should be some level of independence. We have some states in Nigeria that they are giving us the major source of our oil, you know, but look at those same states now. How well are they faring in terms of their welfare? So things are not balanced. You know, we have gold in Osun State, but unfortunately, this is mineral resources is part of the exclusive list. It's in the constitution. It's part of the exclusive. So that's why that we have gold. We might not be enjoying the gold because we need to submit it to the federal government. The federal government will now in turn give us some derivative in percentages. You know, so these are areas we need to look like. Let every state control what they have.
Resource control.
Let them control their resources themselves. You know, so whatever they can have, if you don't have any resources, you work on your manpower. You work on your human capacity development. Now that is on financing and the likes. Look at security. The governor cannot give a direct order to the commissioner of police, especially if it is against what the IG says. You know, and we say the governors are the chief security officer. Why would they now be a security officer when they cannot issue instructions? Look at kidnapping everywhere. Thank God for the wisdom of the Southwest governor, you know, for bringing in Amotekun, and that has reduced, you know, kidnapping. But it's still there. It's still functioning. It's still there. So we need to also look at the security issue, not only the mineral resources. So we need to restructure the whole. We could borrow some ideas from the Constitution 1963 Constitution that you talked about, you know, the regional government and the likes. But it's not really a must that we go into the regional way. If we can, you know, security, mineral resources, you know, reduce the power at the center. The power at the center is too much. Even leadership principle states that you must be able to distribute your powers. If you are the leader at the top, you cannot oversee everywhere. The IG cannot know what is going on in every state. He instructs his commissioner of police. The commissioner does not even know the terrain of the people. Does not know how the people relate. You know. So, for instance, policing is something that is by the people. You must be close to the people. You know, how your community will be best policed is by the people in that community. Yes, so these are things we should look into in terms of restructuring and in terms of amending our constitution.
Okay, now let's look at the cost of governance. Every time the government keeps crying, there is no money, and yet we have a lot of people representing the people in court and taking home huge amounts that could have been used to better the loss of the general masses. What is your take on that? The cost of governance in Nigeria?
I agree with you. It's too expensive. Politics generally is expensive in Nigeria, and this is one of the things that is affecting us. You know, ask people contesting, even ask me, you know, how much, you know, they invest into campaigns and the likes. And so I agree with you. Governance is expensive. Politics is expensive. These are areas we need to look into. You see, so someone like me, I personally believe such positions as this, elected positions as this, or any other leadership position is an opportunity for service. You should be able to serve your people, you know, and not necessarily to go there to enrich your pocket. So these are areas we need to look at. So if representatives of the people are even feeling fat than the people, it's not the best. It's not going to help our economy. It's not going to help us. So
do you see the present crop of leadership we have now looking that way, trying to cut down the cost of governance?
Yeah, we can. I see it. We can start from somewhere. Now, take for instance. You see, let me maybe try to put this in perspective. Poverty has been weaponized in Nigeria because poverty is on the increase, not only in Osun State, you know, everywhere. And people, you see, most of this renomination. I'm just trying to say this from someone that is inside, because I'm also a politician. Most of these renomination are not only taken by the politicians. There are some people at home that also demand from them. You know, so if, for instance, I would like transparency, you know, so every renomination of the governors or the House of Assembly members or House of Reps member, if it will be reduced, should be made public, so that the people will also know that these people that they are sent into government position are going there to serve them. So they should not demand necessarily from them financial gains, but developmental gains for their community. So it's an all-round thing. So I see this present leadership, you know, maybe But yeah, I don't think it's part of the what they are amending in the constitution anyway. But it is something that we should look into. Governance, politics is too expensive.
That was actually why I asked the question. It was not part of the amendment process. So how are they going to do that? Because they are trying to touch every other part of the constitution and not touching the cost of governance. So how sincere?
Well, let me be pessimistic. Let me just say maybe one step at a time.
Okay.
Maybe constitutional amendment is a continuous process. It will be done over and over and again, and it's not a must that it should be done at the National Assembly. Even state assemblies can do that. Or every state can look into their cost of governance, cut it. How much are you giving a particular ministry, or especially the commissioners, just of assembly members? The PAs, the SAs, and these are areas you can look at. So it's not a must it gets to the National Assembly before we can do that. Even state assembly can look into it.
But do you think that the assembly, the National Assembly and the state assembly, do you think they would like to go this way? Because it has happened in this country. Anything that has to do with their own pockets, they will always be averse to it.
And this is why 2023 elections are coming. We just advise the people to vote in people that they think will be able to reduce the cost of governance.
How do we determine those who will? Because when they are seeking for votes, you think they are human beings, but when they get up there, it's
okay. Let me give this example, or let me put this in perspective. Give it as an instance. Anybody that tells you is going to do this and do this for you during campaign, I think we need to check that person. Look at his life in the last 5 years. Look at his life in the last 10 years. Anybody can see anything. A number of people are coming out to contest now, as of assembly, as of reps, senate, president, and the likes, and they are promising heaven and earth. So anybody that is going to tell you that is going to build bridges in the air for you, in the sky for you, as such a person, has he built a road on the ground already? So if he has not done that, obviously will not be able to do what he's telling you. So if you are saying you're talking theoretically, you don't have a practical proof of what you have done for us before, obviously such a person will not be able to do whatever he says he's going to do when he gets to office.
Okay, I think the issue now, even though Nigerians have the power to decide through the ballot, the political parties, we also what transpired during the primaries. That those that you actually think that should be given the chance because they are not money bags. Now it is the political parties that present candidates during party primaries. They just sometimes they give Nigerians no choice to actually get the person they really want. So where do we stand here?
Yeah. Now this is why you see this problem or this challenge that we have is not something that will be solved overnight. You see, I will just use this medium to encourage people to get into politics. Okay. The only office you want to contest for is not necessarily you become a parliament, be in the parliament, or be a governor, or be a president. You can be the secretary of a political party. Okay. You can be the chairman of your ward. You can be the chairman of your political party in the state, so that you'll be able to regulate the primary process and make it not necessarily people that have money in their pocket, but people that have ideas. So just like you said, if the parties are presenting the two, maybe the best of the bad, so you have no choice than to choose the best of the bad. But meanwhile, we have the best of the best that could not get a primary ticket. So it is not a problem that can be solved now. But anybody out there at home, you've not joined partisan politics, it is time for you to join it, so that you'll be able to regulate the party primary process. 4 years is not long again. 2023 will come in the next maybe about 2 or 3 months now. Elections will come and go. But everybody should rise up, especially the youths. Don't wait until every 4 years that you begin to join your campaign. Go to the parties, go and join the party and begin to mobilize people. Politics is a game of number.
Yeah. Okay, from there, let me ask you. Does it mean that all of us in Nigeria should now become politicians?
No, not necessarily. Number one, first of all, we must all be voters. Okay. That is very, very important. What is our population? What is the voting population? For instance, if the INEC, I'm sorry I can't pick the data off now, but let's say for instance in Osun, INEC might say maybe there are about 1 million plus voters. But by the time they will be counting the votes, for instance in the governorship election, you'll be having 300,000 plus people voting. So in other words, we have a number of people that are registered to vote, but they are not voting. So we must all be voters. So if we are all voters, the voters will decide regardless of who the party chooses as their candidate. But because we don't vote.
But let me ask this. You know, the attitude of politicians is actually the major factor that is causing apathy for us in this country. How do we solve this problem?
Yeah, I think personally for me, it's just to get more people involved. You see, this apathy you're talking about, if you want the evil ones to take over, the best thing is just for the good guys to fold their hands and watch. And things will still, the problem or the challenges we're having today, sir, don't you know we had them 30 years ago? It is still the same challenge, and it's getting worse by the day, just because some people have folded their hands and they're not joining the political process. We shouted up NEPA 30 years ago, we are still shouting up NEPA 30 years after. The same electrical issue, the same ASU strike that we had decades ago, we're still having it. Why has it not changed? It is because the good guys have decided to stay on the sideline. So we should not leave the politics to the selfish politicians alone. You see, this nation is for all of us. And if you fold our hands and say, let them continue to do it, it will continue to get worse. And what will we tell our children in the next 30 years? What our contribution is to the development of our nation? I made up my mind I will not give my children stories. I should be able to tell them this and these are the steps I took to make this nation better for them.
Okay, now talking about not leaving politics to politicians alone, let's take a look at independence candidacy. Nigerian Constitution does not recognize that. But do you think it can actually, help in giving, making those that are interested, those that have ideas to govern the country but are not money bags, giving them opportunity to rule?
Yeah, well, independence candidate, I see nothing bad in that, But you see, the power of mobilization, such person, just talking realistically now with what is obtainable in our nation today, for such a person to emerge. If you can mobilize people, you could as well join all these other political parties, not necessarily the major political parties. There are some parties that they are more or less like independent party. They can have their independent candidates, but there's a real work. Even when you're in the major political party, there's a work for you to do. How much more when you're not in the major political party or when you are an independent candidate? You have much more work to do. You see, you cannot just come from heaven and come and say you want to come and represent us. You must be part of the people. You must prove to the people that you are able to mobilize them, that you're able to solve their problems. But unfortunately, many of these people that just wake up and say they want to become president from maybe minor political party as it were, they have not been involved with the people. They've not built the people over a period of time. You must be able to build a movement.
Okay, apart from the presidency or other national, for instance, if you are living in a particular community and you want to contest for a councillor, local government chairman, or the State House of Assembly, and your people really want you to be there, and you are not part of any political party, isn't that possible? Shouldn't it be possible?
Yeah, that's why I agree with you. We don't have independent candidates yet. In the Constitution. So, someone like me, if I'm the National Assembly, I will definitely vote for it. And if they bring it to the State Assembly, I will vote for it. I mean to say that I support independent candidacy. But since we don't have that yet, there are a number of other political parties, because we cannot wait until we have the independent candidate before time is going. You remember a time in Nigeria that if you're not 30 years old or if you're not 35 years old, you cannot contest for the State Assembly. But that is in the past now. Yeah. So if you are 30 years old, now you can contest for the State Assembly.
Okay. Now, let's still look at this constitution review. There are a lot of expectations from the people from this constitution review. Their thought is that something better will come out of it. But now that the process seems to be at the crossroad, what do you think should be done?
Well, no, let me say the process is at the crossroad, because there's a number of things that have been amended in the constitution. It's just that there are some things that will not go through the amendment. A number of things have been amended. I cannot begin to list, because a number of this amendment was sent to the Osun State House of Assembly, and we voted for or against as the case may be. So I can't say we are at crossroad. Just because maybe a particular issue was not addressed, that does not mean other issues are not addressed.
But how long will it take us?
Exactly. Bearing in mind, let me add that the National Assembly said only 11 states have passed it. And this present administration is winding up. By May next year, it will be over. Yes. So do you actually see any light at the end of the tunnel?
I think this is where your job also comes in, the media, to really enlighten the people. Of course, this is Osun State. Osun State has passed theirs. we've sent our one under the leadership of the Speaker, Right Honorable Timothy Oweye. But I think the media could also sensitize, call out other assemblies that have not done that. If 11 out of 36, that's not good enough. And I think the National Assembly even saying they fear that this amendment might not be concluded before the general election if other state assembly have not done their job. So I think the media or independent organization can begin to call out such states so that this amendment could be done swiftly.
Honorable Adeyemi Adeomi, ẹ jẹ́ ká wò ní èdè abínibí. Àtúnṣe sí òfin tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́. Kí ni àtúnṣe sí òfin constitution review? Kí ni àtúnṣe sí òfin yẹn bá wa tàn mọ́lẹ̀ sí fún àwọn èèyàn wa táwọn.
Ẹ ṣé gan. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ tẹ́lẹ̀, ṣẹ́rí òfin ó ní àgbékalẹ̀ tí àwa kan bí a ní fún àpẹẹrẹ àwa táwa lórílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà àti sọ wípé nípasẹ̀ òfin yìí ò la fẹ́ máa gbé ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà nǹkan tí wọ́n ń pè ní òfin nìyẹn pé gbogbo wa la fi ọwọ́ sí pé òfin tó máa darí wa lélẹ̀ fún bí àpẹẹrẹ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí àwa mẹ́ta la wà ń bíbí àwa mẹ́ta lè jọ fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pé òfin tó máa darí ìjókòó àwa mẹ́tẹ̀ẹ̀ta níbi tá a wà lélẹ̀ ìpéjọ tí obìnrin bá ti wà láàrin wọn gbọ́dọ̀ jókòó sáàrin ìjọ tí obìnrin bá ti láàrin mo fi àkàtí mo sọ bóyá yé wa so òfin tó ń darí orílẹ̀-èdè kan tá à ń pè ní òfin nìyẹn báwọn sọ pé àtúntò ìyẹn wá túmọ̀ sí wípé àti kọ́kọ́ ṣe òfin alákọ̀ọ́kọ́ aṣòfin ẹlẹ́kejì aṣòfin àwárí wípé òfin táwọn torí òfin èèyàn la ṣe fún kì í ṣe èèyàn fún òfin èèyàn ló ní òfin èèyàn ló ń control òfin èèyàn ló ń darí òfin kí ayé wa lè dára la ṣe gbé òfin kalẹ̀ àgbọ̀dọ̀ wa má jẹ́ kí òfin wa máa darí wa lọ́nà tí kò tọ́ tó bá ti dé kó òfin tá a gbé kalẹ̀ pé kò ṣe nǹkan tí a fẹ́ a ní ẹ̀tọ́ láti ṣe àtúntò láti ṣe àwọn àtúntò òfin yẹn láti rí wípé òfin yẹn wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ṣe nǹkan tí a fẹ́ kí ìgbé ayé wa kó lè dẹrùn so nǹkan tí wọ́n ń pè ní àtúntò òfin nìyẹn tí olóyìnbó ń pè ní constitution amendment tí wọ́n ń ṣe lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́.
ẹ ṣe gan ni ẹni òfin ó jẹ́ àgbékalẹ̀ tí àwọn tí wọ́n ṣe òfin yẹn fún gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ nípa rẹ̀ tó ń gbọ́dọ̀ gbà wípé òfin yìí àgbà tọwọ́tọwọ́ àgbà tẹsẹ̀tẹsẹ̀ àdẹ̀fọ́nramọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó ń sọ tí a bá wá wo òfin Nàìjíríà ṣé àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà fi ọwọ́ sí òfin yẹn.
A lè sọ wípé àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà fi ọwọ́ sí òfin yẹn nítorí pé òfin táwọn ń lò lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ bá ìjọba ológun ló gbélé wa lọ́wọ́ èyàn táwọn olóyìnbó pè ní military ní 1999 nígbà tí bàbá Olúṣẹ́gun Ọbásanjọ́ tó jẹ́ ààrẹ constitution yẹn òfin yẹn tá à ń lò láti ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn jagunjagun láti gbà so a lè sọ wípé gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà ló ń jókòó náà fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pé òfin lóòótọ́ àwọn ológun náà ọmọ Nàìjíríà náà ni wọ́n bọ̀dá bá ń ṣe òfin yìí gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ nǹkan tí ní gbogbo ìpínlẹ̀ ní gbogbo ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ tí wọ́n ní aṣojú tó sọ pé ó yá lọ bá wa ṣe òfin yẹn wá ìyẹn túmọ̀ sí pé gbogbo wa la fi ọwọ́ sí òfin àmọ́ lóye tá à ń bá lọ yìí kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ìjọba ológun ló kàn gbé òfin yẹn lé wa lọ́wọ́.
ọ̀dà ìjọba ológun gbé òfin lé wa lọ́wọ́ àwa tán gbé òfin lé lọ́wọ́ a ti wá ń rí i pé àwọn nǹkan kan ó mẹ́hẹ̀ nínú òfin a sì fẹ́ ṣe kí ló dé tá a ti lè ṣe àtúntò tó yẹ ká ṣe títí dásìkò tá a wà.
àtúntò ti ń débà náà because ẹ bá ń gbọ́ nínú constitution tá à ń lò yìí wọ́n á sọ pé first amendment second amendment ìyẹn túmọ̀ sí wípé wọ́n ti ń ṣe àtúntò ẹ̀ àtúntò yẹn ò kàn tí ì tó nǹkan tí àwa fẹ́ ni kò tí ì ṣe dáadáa tó nǹkan tá a fi sọ àtúntò yẹn ti ń wá oríṣiríṣi náà àtúntò náà ti ń ṣe lọ́wọ́ so àtúntò mìíràn náà tún ń ṣe lọ́wọ́ báyìí.
kí àtúntò ilé ìtàn ṣe lọ́wọ́ ètùdé ní ìgbà ìjọba former president Goodluck Jonathan òun náà gbé àwọn ìjọba kalẹ̀ tí wọ́n ṣe àpérò kí àtúntò lè bá a dé ẹ wá wo gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n yàn sí tán yàn gẹ́gẹ́ bí gọ́vnà àwọn tí wọ́n yàn sí ilé aṣòfin Nàìjíríà náà ló yàn wọ́n wípé kí wọ́n lọ máa ṣojú wọn nígbà táwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà wá sọ pé a fẹ́ àwọn àtúntò báyìí kí ló dé tó fi wá jẹ́ nǹkan tó nira fún àwọn tí àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà yàn kalẹ̀ láti ṣojú wọn kí ló tó fi nira fún wọn láti ṣe àtúntò yìí.
ṣe rí orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà oríṣiríṣi ẹ̀yà la ní níbẹ̀ Haúsá Ìgbò Yorùbá ìyẹn ló kàn jẹ́ kí mẹ́ta tó ṣe gbòógì a sì ní oríṣiríṣi ẹ̀yà Fúlàní káàkiri tí gbogbo wọn wà bẹ́ẹ̀ yàtọ̀ sí ẹ̀yà tá a ní ẹ̀sìn oríṣiríṣi ẹ̀sìn la tún ní so gbogbo orú àwọn kan báyìí ló máa ń sábà fa ìdíwọ́ láti ṣe àtúntò tí àwọn ènìyàn fẹ́ because àwọn ẹ̀yà yà wò pé ṣé nǹkan tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe tí wọ́n máa ṣe àtúntò yìí ṣó máa ṣàpè wá ṣó máa jẹ́ nǹkan tí tá a máa lè rí èrè níbẹ̀ àwọn ẹ̀sìn ilé náà sọ wípé ṣé nǹkan tí wọ́n máa ṣe àtúntò yìí ṣó máa pè wá ṣá máa rí èrè níbẹ̀ àwọn olóṣèlú gan tún jókòó pé tá máa ṣe àtúntò yìí ṣó máa pé àwọn olóṣèlú sọra ilé ló jára àwọn ìpèníjà tí àtúntò tó yẹ kó dé bá òfin wa tó ṣe tí ì dé bá.
Ó dáa ká tó dánu dúró lọ́nà tó kí ló dé tó fi ṣòro fún wa ní Nàìjíríà láti wo nǹkan tí yóò jẹ́ àǹfààní fún gbogbo wa ju pé ká máa wò pé ẹ̀sìn báyìí ni ẹ̀yà báyìí ni kankan kó jẹ́ pé ìyẹn ni ó wà máa darí gbogbo ohun tá a bá máa ṣe ní àpérò láti mú kí orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ó dáa kí ló dé tá a kì í tiẹ̀ rò wípé ókè o kí ni ó tiẹ̀ máa jẹ́ àǹfààní fún gbogbo wa yàtọ̀ sí ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀sìn ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀yà.
Lọ́rọ̀ kan ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan ìdí ìlú tó yẹ pé tá a bá fẹ́ máa dìbò tá a bá fẹ́ máa rán àwọn èèyàn lọ sílé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin bóyá l'Àbújá ni àbí nípínlẹ̀ àbí a fẹ́ dìbò fún gómìnà àbí ààrẹ ni a gbọ́dọ̀ mọ orí èèyàn tó jẹ́ kárí wípé kì í ṣe ẹni tó jẹ́ tó ní ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan ó gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ kí n sọ lóyìnbó tó gbọ́dọ̀ ẹnìkan tó gbọ́dọ̀ wà very objective tó lè wo nǹkan kó wo lọ kó wo bọ̀ kó dẹ̀ mú ètò dá jáde níbẹ̀ ṣe rí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ènìyàn wa tó wà ní ìdí tá ti ń ṣe àwọn òfin ìmọ̀tara ẹni nìkan ló pọ̀ níbẹ̀ so wọ́n á wòye pé kí ni èmi fẹ́ rí níbẹ̀ kí ni tí n bá fọwọ́ sí òfin tí n bá darapọ̀ mọ́ ọkàn ṣe àtúntò òfin kí ló máa jẹ́ ìpín tèmi níbẹ̀ so nǹkan tó ń kó bá wa nìyẹn.
ok ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ pé àwọn gbọ́dọ̀ dìbò fún ẹni tí ó máa ṣojú wọn dáadáa ẹ wò pé ní àwọn ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú náà máa ń fa àwọn èèyàn kalẹ̀ tó máa dìbò fún àwọn tó dẹ̀ máa fà kalẹ̀ yẹn ìgbà míì àwọn tí wọ́n ní nǹkan lọ́pọlọ tó ń fẹ́ ṣe iṣẹ́ fún sílùú wọn kì í ní owó lápò so àwọn ẹgbẹ́ olóṣèlú kì í fà wọn kalẹ̀ irú ọ̀nà wo kí lẹ rò pé àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà lè ṣe ní irú.
ẹ ṣe gan òótọ́ nìkan tẹ̀ sọ torí a ní ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn dáadáa ní Nàìjíríà ní pàtàkì jùlọ àwọn ọ̀dọ́ tí orí wọn pé dáadáa tí wọ́n lè darí orílẹ̀-èdè yìí dáadáa àmọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹ ṣe sọ bí àtúntò kò sí ẹran ní ọwọ́ dáadáa wọn ni eléyà kan wà mú ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo sọ lóde òyìnbó kí n rọ àwọn ènìyàn wa kàn gbìyànjú láti darapọ̀ mọ́ ètò ìṣèjọba àti òṣèlú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà tá a bá ní kí ká díjú kẹ́ni burúkú kọjá tẹ́lẹ̀ rẹ fi máa kọjá àní mọ̀ kì í ṣe gbogbo ènìyàn ló máa di gómìnà kì í ṣe gbogbo ènìyàn ló máa di ààrẹ àmọ́ a lè rí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tó yẹ pé ó lè jẹ́ pé pátì òṣèlú ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú ẹ ló máa darapọ̀ mọ́ tí wàá ti jẹ́ alága níbẹ̀ àbí tí wàá ti jẹ́ secretary níbẹ̀ tí wàá lè bójú tó bí wọ́n ṣe ń ṣe primary níbẹ̀ tó dá àwọn tí ó dá àwọn tí a mọ̀ wípé ó lè bá wa tún Nàìjíríà ṣe àwọn ìlú máa jáwé olúborí níbi primary wa.
ká tó mẹ́nu dúró ètò ìdìbò ń bọ̀ láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà ní February kí ni ọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní sáwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà. Ìmọ̀ràn mi sí wọn ni wípé kán gbìyànjú kí wọ́n dìbò fún àwọn tí wọ́n rí dájú wípé wọ́n lè ṣojú wọn dáadáa torí 2023 àwa àlọ́ àmọ́ báwo ni ọdún mẹ́rin yẹn wá tún ṣe fẹ́ rí ká má wo wípé eléyìí ló lówó eléyìí ló máa fún mi lówó ta ló lè ṣojú wa dáadáa then tí àwọn kan bá ń sọ fún wa láàrin wọn wípé àwọn fẹ́ kọ́ afárá sí ojú òfurufú fún wa ẹ jẹ́ ká béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn bó ṣe tètè kọ́kọ́ kọ́ afárá sí ojú sílẹ̀ lẹ̀ so bí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn máa sọ nǹkan tí wọ́n lè ṣe ẹ jẹ́ ká wo ìgbésí ayé irú èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ níbi ọdún 5 sẹ́yìn àbí bí ọdún 10 sẹ́yìn wípé ṣé nǹkan tó ń sọ yìí ṣùtẹ̀ ti ṣerú ẹ̀ rí ẹni tí ò bá ti ṣerú ẹ̀ rí ẹ ká ti mọ̀ wípé irọ́ ló wà ń bẹ ẹ jẹ́ ká jáde ká lọ dìbò ká dìbò fún ẹni tí a mọ̀ pé ó máa ṣojú wa dáadáa. Thank you very much, Honorable. Thank you so much for making it to the program this morning. Yes, we have been discussing the constitutional review and the crisis, the controversy between the National Assembly and the state governors. And Honorable
Adeyemi Adewumi Irekando,
representing Ogun State constituency in the state House of Assembly, he has been our guest on the program this morning, and he has actually, discussed a lot about the issue on ground. Thank you once again for making it to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
And this is where we will be drawing the curtain on the first guest platform of the Saturday morning trade. Please don't go away. The program continues in a moment.
Senator Ademola Adeleke trekked the road from the junction down to the primary school. Speaking with some of the residents, the state governor said he decided to embark on the visit to have first-hand information on the state of the road and level of infrastructural deficits that has happened to John Mackey and Camp Primary School, Ayepe area, Osogbo. The headmistress of the school, Mrs. Esther Ogundipe, while conducting the governor round to the school, said most of the blocks of classrooms in the school were blown off by storms and were abandoned because the previous government did not do anything to fix them. Responding, the governor assured the teacher, who was moved to tears, that the school and the road will be part of the completed projects to be celebrated in commemoration of his 100 days in office.
I can assure you, whatever we need to do to improve